Hi guys, it's me Ty here, and today I'm going to talk about what to do if the brakes are not working on your Toro MDX side by side. And I had one of our fleet come in there, and yeah, it had pretty much, well, it wasn't quite zero brakes, but it was pretty darn close. It would slow you down, and they'd finally bring you to stop. So I went ahead and I looked all over it for any leaks or anything. I didn't notice anything at first or if any broken cables. And I went ahead and I popped the hood, and sure as heck, the brake master cylinder was completely empty. So I went ahead and I took the cap off and I poured in DOT3 um, brake fluid into it because that's what it calls for. And I started pumping the brakes, and I heard something like squirting or something on the concrete floor of the shop. So I crawled underneath there, and sure as heck, underneath the right front tire, your steel brake line where it comes into the wheel, um, it was just soaked around there on the floor there. So I went ahead and I called in one of the operators, and I filled it back up with brake fluid and had them pump the brakes, and it was shooting out of the two brass washers on your banjo fitting. And any of you guys that have ever dealt with that, like this is the second time in my life that I've dealt with it on my 2003 Chevy Silverado. I had that, and just for no reason, those brass crush washers, they will fail on you. So I ran into Napa, and I got two. They compared the ones that I had, and I put those in, and it was like $6 for the two of them. One of them goes on each side of your banjo fitting on your brake line, and I tightened them up good and tight, and I still had no brakes, so I knew I had to bleed it. So I ran back into town and I bought a brake bleeding kit from uh, Harbor Freight, and I was hoping they just had like the little canister, little cup or whatever, then with the two hoses. And but they didn't. They actually had the vacuum gun. You had to pay the $25 for that, and then Menards they wanted like $35 for that vacuum kit, and I didn't care about having a vacuum gauge. I just wanted to have something there, and it's always a pain in the butt running around for hoses and to use a Powerade bottle or whatever to set it all up. So I just bought that one over at Harbor Freight. And how you do that the um, with the Toro MDXs is you start on the wheel that is the furthest away from the master cylinder. So that is the right rear wheel. And before I ever even hooked up one of the hoses to it, I went ahead and I cracked it loose, and I cracked all of them loose on all four wheels, and then I tightened them back up just to make sure that they worked fine there. And I went ahead and I put in there's a little hose that you put on the bottom of your cover, and it goes down into the fluid just that no fluid air can get back into it. And I put in a little bit of brake fluid just so it covered that hose up. And then the other end of it, I hooked up to the brake bleeder screw, and I turned it until I loosened it just until the fluid started coming into that hose, and I started pumping the brakes probably like 3 times, and I went ahead and examined the clear hose of if there was any bubbles in it, and there were. So I pumped it a few more times, and I made sure that the brake master cylinder stayed topped off. Right? And So I got that one done, and then I went ahead and I tightened that brake bleeder screw um, with the hose still on, and then I moved on to the passenger side wheel, and I did the exact same thing. And then the front passenger side wheel, and then I finally did the driver's side one, which is right next to the brake master cylinder, and I got it. And they all still seem kind of mushy at first, but then after I pumped it a couple times and tightened them all up, it was just hard as a rock, and that thing will stop on a dime. So uh, I hope this helps you guys. If you guys like these Toro repair videos, like, share, and subscribe because we have so many pieces of Toro equipment on site. We have 64 pieces that I'm maintaining. So I'm sure I'll make a video of something that you guys have on hand. All right, take care. Bye.